Chohan, who's a leading political economist. Thank you very much, Usman, to have joined us. Now, Usman, the theme this year for the Future Investment Initiative, where our Prime Minister is representing Pakistan, is Infinite Horizons, Investing Today, Shaping Tomorrow. The first part of the question is, how important is this theme under the current circumstances that we are seeing in the region and the world? The second part of my question concerns a one-on-one meeting that our Prime Minister had with the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman on the sidelines of this 8th edition, and wherein a lot of economic situation and collaboration were discussed between both the countries, that includes trade, investment and broader economy. And our Prime Minister also expressed gratitude to the Crown Prince for Saudi Arabia's support regarding international financial institutions. Now, the first part of the question was regarding the theme. The second part of the question is, how critical has the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's support to Pakistan been as far as Pakistan's economic turnaround is concerned?
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be with you. The first part of your question relates to the theme of the FII, which is a transition or investment for the future, basically. So, as you well know, we are going through an important critical juncture in the 21st century, and you have to think towards the middle of the 21st century, which means that you have to start investing in key areas now, and the countries that make the investments now will reap the benefits by mid-century. Key in that is things like artificial intelligence, which you hear about all the time, but it's also more things like renewable energy, electric vehicles, infrastructure, and things of that sort, as well as education and healthcare, mining, energy. All of these things matter. So what you'll see at the FII is that all of these different discussions will be taking place about what priorities each country has, or major corporations have, where they see the future, where are there disagreements that can be hammered out, deals can be made, and where can we see the world going in terms of this transition. So the Future Investment Initiative means we invest now in a radical way to have positive results by mid-century. That's basically what the FII thinks. The second part of your question was about this meeting between our Prime Minister and the Crown Prince and the importance of that. Well, of course, you should see it in terms of this multi-staging engagement that we have with the Saudis. So we went there, they came here, and we are going there. And in each step, you see more memorandums of understanding added, some of which are already operational. More investment deals are put on the table. Good legwork is done from our side. Good legwork is done on their side in terms of due diligence. And with that, you see that actually quite a few areas exist where Pakistan can offer a good return on investment to Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia can diversify its economy. Because you have to keep in mind that Saudi Arabia needs Pakistan as much as Pakistan needs Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia has a vision 2030, and then a vision beyond that will be linked to 2030. And for that, they're imagining a world beyond hydrocarbons and their dependency on oil. So you can't just think about them as an oil-producing country. They see themselves, particularly the Crown Prince sees Saudi Arabia as a very multidimensional economy. He's basically aiming to achieve what America did with hundreds of millions of people in 300 years. He wants to do it in 2 generations with tens of millions of people. So it's very ambitious. That's where countries like Pakistan, and Pakistan in particular, can help Saudi Arabia to attain that vision by having those synergies for that vision to be realized.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Stay with us, Usman. Crown Prince, our Prime Minister, also alluded to the visit of the Saudi Minister for Investment and his huge delegation that had come to Pakistan some time back. And of course, the Minister for Investment, Khalid bin Abdulaziz, who visited Pakistan earlier this year on a 3-day official visit, led to the signing of many important MOUs, Memoranda of Understanding. How important do you feel that visit was, and how do you feel that the MOUs that were signed during that time could further lead impetus to the economic turnaround of Pakistan and the relations between both countries?
Oh, well, I think they have an enormous impact. The number of MOUs has actually increased since that visit when the Minister of Investment had arrived. At that time, we had already done a lot of homework on our side to present proposals. And then what was responded to particularly favorably received particularly detailed follow-ups. And in the same time, they had also come well prepared. That delegation came well prepared with serious, rolled up their sleeves. It's time to do business. And they looked at various different areas. And it became evident that there were a lot of areas for opportunity, and Saudi Arabia was the delegation came to realize that Pakistan is actually a very competitive place for investment, where Saudi Arabia can have high returns, high inroads, because at that time Pakistan was, and even now, it's not the only country that is eager to develop fast with a lot of potential and a young population. For example, Egypt is also in a similar position to us with a lot of offers, a lot of investment offers, but Pakistan still stands out, and that's very good. And now with this visit to Saudi Arabia, you can see that there's a further follow up on what needs to be done. More MOUs are being added according to the Saudi side. So already we can see several different areas, and 5 of those are already operational MOUs. So, the thing with MOUs, as you well know, is that that's an expression of interest, but then you have to follow up with do implementation on that. And already you can see with these MOUs that implementation is being done. So that's very reassuring that things are not just left to the MOU stage.
The Prime Minister, as we all know, addressed the 8th plenary of the Future Investment Initiative Forum as well, which is a very important forum, as well as the, innovation, economic activities, and the future shaping of the world is concerned. Now, our Prime Minister invites global investors to invest in Pakistan in different sectors of our economy. He says, and I quote, that Pakistan is on a transformative journey of resilience and relentless pursuit of stability as well as growth. How can Pakistan develop further on this journey? By collaborating with the nations, heralding an era of innovation.
Absolutely. When you look at the theme of this conference and the transition element, and then you look at the membership or the participation in the FII, you see that the right people are getting together for this conversation. So it's very good that Pakistan has this present, and at such a high level presence too, to articulate the case for investment in Pakistan. Because what we want to argue is that we've gone through a difficult period as a world community, and Pakistan, as an emerging market, went through a hard time over the last 5 years with COVID and then post-COVID. That's over now, and that we are setting in place the right long-term investments that complement what we had already done, for example, on CPEC, which was begun a decade ago, and now it's in phase 2. We're looking for these investment partners, and we want to assure them that they will get the good returns. And we're also it's not simplistic transactions, but it's also in line with the future of investment. Because where is the future of the world? It's very much in Asia, naturally, but specifically South Asia, and Pakistan is obviously key in that. South Asia is the future demographically and so on. So you have to keep an eye on South Asia, he is arguing, and all of the technologies that are getting considerable discussion in this, such as artificial intelligence and all of that, those matter here more than in other places. And so Pakistan, not just at this forum, but also directly to the Saudis, has mentioned things like AI, but also medical stuff, as our population will also come to age. It's one of the last that will age, but it will age. And as medical is one, then mining, and then energy and stuff, to fill in the gaps that have been left behind over the last, you can say, 50 years. So that's where the FII becomes very important, because the people who are interested in these things with that mindset of transition, investing for transition into the mid-21st century, are there. So that's why it matters that these things are talked about, and our Prime Minister's raising those things there.
All right. You talk about education, you did talk about health as well, and you talked about disease prevention, that I've also asked Javed sir. But one thing that I'd like to highlight, is the emphasis that our Prime Minister has put on artificial intelligence during his meeting, during his address at the 8th plenary. Now he talks about reforms, he talks about leveraging investment in artificial intelligence, but you did manage to talk about education. I also like to add a little point as far as education is concerned, where the PM talks about vocational training, digital literacy, and says Pakistan aims to being a skilled, tech-savvy generation, and mentions examples like the Danish School. Do you feel Pakistan can, be an example for other countries to follow as far as such trainings are concerned? And of course, will AI be able to help Pakistan go forward certain steps or leaps and bounds as far as the training process is concerned, the education process is concerned? Do you feel the AI could be used in a manner that could be lucrative for our education sector?
Oh, this is a tricky question. Because AI is a double-edged sword. As an economist, you are looking at the gains to productivity from AI, and yes, that is obvious. There's many gains to be had from that in education and literacy being one, because it creates accessibility and student engagement in a way that is mass replicable. So that's very good. But at the same time, there's an employment issue with AI because AI's replaceability of jobs, not in the current iteration, of course, but 5 years, 10 years down the road is very scary for employment. So when a country such as Pakistan or any other emerging market as well looks at AI, it needs for AI to be deployed not as a tool in an arms race, as major powers are doing now, but rather as something that is inclusive towards development. And in this FII summit, the key talk about in AI has been AI inclusivity. So the deployment of AI in a way that creates more secure working environments, job environments like job security, as well as productivity gains, that is the key. And luckily, there are 19 knowledge partners present at the FII who are the big players in this. So that speaks directly to your point about education and AI, because these are knowledge partners and these are the heavyweights, global heavyweights in this field. So I don't want to name names specifically, but they have such an important weight in driving where AI goes that they can have it made inclusive if they want to. At least the pressure is being put on them in a summit like this, and at least they will do the virtue signaling that they are interested. Whether this actually happens requires countries like Pakistan as well as Saudi Arabia to be proactive and to make sure that it is inclusive rather than an arms race. So it is a double-edged sword for now, but at least the right kind of conversation is happening about making this something useful and not a double-edged sword, but a true benefit for emerging markets like ours.
All right, thank you so very much, Usman, to have joined us. That was, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Usman Chohan, leading political economist, talking to us about the relationship between Pakistan and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the context of our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's visit to the Kingdom, as well as, of course, his address to the 8th plenary of the Future Investment Initiative. Thank you very much, Usman.